You look different.
Yeah. You know, I've always been fit. I learned the act of peg dancing.
What's that?
I learned the act of peg dancing.
Peg dancing. You kind of like peg dancing? Hey. Read your social security number.
We need. Hey, aloha.
Hey, because you know what? In the Russian hackers, Mongoose Max Hawaii, the news is everywhere. You know, the Russian hackers for the U.S. that they didn't know were hacking the U.S. for months and months and months. They were hacking. I lost the bottom of my shoe.
I love it. Class.
Oh,
Shoes. What's that?
oh, it's right there. Let's go get it. I have no soul.
You have a soul? You don't mean that. You never sold your soul.
I didn't sell it.
Well,
Someone took it.
I guess we could sell this. I guess we could sell your soul.
Someone took my soul.
I guess we could sell your soul. That's a good size. 13?
I think it's like, yeah, it's like 12 and a half.
Oh wow.
Or 12.
We can, let's go back and get you some new shoes. Your back might hurt.
Well, I'll just come
back, pick it up.
Hey.
Well, I'll wait.
No,
Your
it's,
backpack?
no, this is up and down again.
Put it in your backpack.
So the Russian hackers, you know what they hacked? Finance. So they're interested in finance, like the financial board of the U.S.
I wanted some money.
Well, it's like for months and months and months they were curious as to what America has going on with its money. So, and then if you're like, I'm thinking if you went to like say
Across? We're good.
okay, yeah, follow the leader. So if you
Freddie Mae and Freddie Mac, I told you so.
my eyes are up here. Oh, yeah, but the government does this thing where they buy businesses, right, to make sure they're financially secure, but then the government owns the business.
Correct.
Therefore, going from privatized to nationalized.
Yes.
Freddie Mae, Fannie Mac, or is it Fannie Mac and Freddie Mae, or Freddies and Fannies, and they have Fannies and Macs and whatever. It sounds like a.
They both failed, by the
like
way, in 2008. So the Federal Reserve had to inject some money into them because once they failed, which they did, the other banks realized that, the housing authority realized that, everything was a domino. But you know, short story term, this is 2020. This was like 12 years ago. We know the story is that the government bailed itself out.
Yeah. 3 days left. 2020.
Oh yeah! Wow.
So 28th.
So yeah. So jump forward to 2021 is up ahead of us. 3 days up ahead of us, and we're going through, for our viewers that watch us, we're going through a COVID crisis, right? COVID
In case you don't
crisis.
know, there's the plague.
The plague. And the Federal Reserve announced that they're going to use any tools in their toolkit, as they say, to revive, stimulate the economy. And December 17th, about 10 days ago, they announced that they are continuing full steam ahead with what is called mortgage MBS, mortgage-backed securities. They're buying out mortgage-backed securities out of the market with a rate of $120 billion a day.
Whoa!
a day.
100 billion, 120 billion a day. They're buying these securities.
Yep.
So now they're government owned.
Yep. So they're giving.
So you guys private can no make money off that, eh?
Yep. So these what they're doing is they're giving these treasury bills from the treasury. They're swapping it with the Federal Reserve, and they're buying back all the real estate they can to keep the real estate where at a healthy rate, so we don't go through a housing real estate crash like we did in 2008. So that is the current tools that the Federal Reserve using. And by the way, this is uncharted territory. They're in the red line, as Jerome Powell, the chair of the Federal Reserve, said. But they are patting him on the back and saying, congratulations,
Good
you
boy,
reacted.
just fix it.
Which
It's the Fed.
Which he is fixing, quote unquote, right?
Yeah, he's fixing it. So the
What it means
housing,
for you and me and you, it means we gotta keep paying taxes.
housing market and business kind stuff is going to be, by federal policy and law, a lot more healthy, but it will be owned by the state. It'll be owned by the government.
That's right. Currently 33% of the real estate is owned by the state right now. A third of the US real estate owned by the state.
Yeah, and I mean state as in politic speak, the country,
government.
the nation, the government.
The Federal Reserve,
Yeah.
which is hybrid. It's part of the state, part private. It's ran by the Board of Governors, which there are 12 from each local Federal Reserve bank. And the main one is in New York.
Federal Reserve Bank governors.
And the main one is in New York. It's the main decision policy maker in New York. But of course, they all get together and they vote on the new policy.
This is the park we're at, Operation Red Wings Medal of Honor Park, dedicated to Pearl Harbor SEALs who died during the Operation Red Wings, and to all Hawaii Medal of Honor, all Hawaii Medal of Honor recipients. I think the Red Wings, George Lucas did a movie on them, I think. He was into fighter pilots, and for me, Red Wings is this like kind of like licorice.
Yeah. So anyhow,
The government doing stuff.
Yeah. So this is the biggest crisis of our generation. The last biggest one.
How do you figure it's a crisis?
Well, it's the crisis.
Because we're going socialist?
It depends who you ask. It's a crisis of what's to follow, right? It's going to be the cause, COVID. Let's revive the economy. What's going to be the effect? So the crisis I'm talking about is, for example, the feds have printed. March 2020, we had a shutdown all across the board, most states, and the feds, Jerome Powell, he swiftly acted. That's why they're patting him on the back, because he swiftly acted, and he's
on it.
He printed. The feds have printed, injected, they call it. They injected,
like the vaccine.
Yeah, like the vaccine that we're about to get.
Injected into your brain.
They injected $2.2 trillion into the U.S. economy. This is for the corporations, bail out the airlines, help with the hospitals who are quote unquote overwhelmed with all these cases.
Oh, the ones that may or may not be COVID related?
Yep.
But they're overwhelmed.
Stimulus, unemployment, and stimulus checks. So this was the 2.2 trillion.
Yeah.
About 150 billion of it went into common American who's actually out of work. So this was about 150 billion of that 2.2 trillion only went to the common American citizen for stimulus check and for unemployment.
How
The
much was
rest,
that amount again?
About 150 billion.
150
Don't
billion.
quote me on that. I know it's...
Okay, so about that, I'm trying to figure out, I wonder what percent of all this government spending is going to go to the actual individuals, as in citizens, as opposed to institutions.
Less than 5%.
Ho, 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 ho.
So 2.2.
So pay your taxes, you get 5% you get a lollipop.
And remember, it's actually even less than 0.5% if you look at the direct stimulus check. It's nothing. Less than 0.1%. But don't quote me on that. I'm just doing that.
Yeah, it's a roundabout figures.
Yeah, don't quote me on that. But I do know that it was you can research this, $2.2 trillion in March the Federal Reserve printed to inject into the economy. This was the first round.
2.2 trill.
Yep.
I can't even conceive of that number. We can say that number, even billion or 1,000. You can say these numbers.
And about 4.8 trillion went into the government bailout, the various government compartments. So there's actually $6 trillion that was
Wait a minute.
created.
So $6 trillion created, right? Like print them up.
$6 trillion that was created.
About 4 goes to the government and 2 goes to people.
2.2. Well, 2.2 is supposed to go to the people, but remember, only 150 billion went to the people.
But only of the 2.2.
It's called the Heroes Act. You can look it up. $2.2 trillion.
Who the, what heroes? What are they? What's heroic?
Well,
Not sure what
the Heroes Act is supposed to be for the people of the America. Here it is. The Health and Economy Recovery Omnibus Emergency Solutions Act, or HEROES Act. That's what it stands for. The Health and Economic Recovery Omnibus Emergency Solutions Act, or HEROES Act, short term, is a proposed. This is old. This was May 2015. And it's passed May 2018. So it's passed within 3 days, very quickly. It's
Fast.
thousands of pages. Passed very quickly. This,
as opposed to the other ones which are stumped.
This COVID-19 pandemic was legislatively acting as close to 2.2. They said 3 trillion stimulus package in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, and is intended to supplement the early CARES Act stimulus package, right?
CARES Act, and that's supposed to supplement the CARES Act, HEROES Act.
So here it is. House passes 2.2 trillion heroes, quote, HEROES Act, which is a short term for Health and Economic Recovery Omnibus Emergency Solutions Act. You can edit that out if you ever do.
Well, yeah, when you make these things really long, and editing takes forever.
And this was the first stimulus. So now Congress just passed another stimulus that is $900 billion. Okay, $900 billion more. It's gonna go back into the unemployment.
That's just another trill.
Yep, it's gonna go back into the unemployment. Insurance. It's gonna go into $600 stimulus for each American citizen who makes $90,000, $75,000 or less. So that's us, common man.
Well, what do you think about all that in general? Put that in words that
So why I think
Mongoose Max can understand.
Yeah, Max. Back to why is there cause and effect, as we were saying. The cause is coronavirus. The effect is, which is planned. The effect is that as I get into the workforce, I'm 29, just turned 30. As I get into the workforce far after college, which I'm an entrepreneur, making ends meet. But as I get into the workforce, it means that my taxes are going to go up, which they have raised the taxes already this year. Why, people are moving out of California. This is historical.
Very
California
taxed.
is
It's a state.
Tesla, Elon Musk is huge in California. He's moved to Texas for that reason.
They don't like taxes in Texas.
Yep. So go to Texas if you don't want to pay taxes.
Texas is a very prime location for people who are into making big money. They head there, even if they don't have any money, and they're like dreams of money. They go Texas.
Yeah, go big or go home.
So a lot of people in Texas aren't really from Texas.
Yep, exactly. So that's the cost. That's the effect of this cost. Is people moving, displacing.
Not inflation, man. They start printing all that crap.
Yeah, right. We haven't.
What's the value of the dollar going to be?
We haven't even gotten to that part yet, right? So people are moving for better, lesser taxes. California economy is going, which is the world's 5th biggest economy. If it was just a country alone, the world's 5th biggest is going down. They're going through the real estate going through a deflationary measure. So real estate is dropping prices. So this is where the government is stepping in to buy up cheap assets, right? Back to that mortgage-backed securities are going back and buying back that real estate at a discounted price because it's dropping. This is all part of the plan.
So when they can sell it later and actually make money off of it. I don't know what their plan is.
Whatever, they just create money out of thin air and they can make money off of us. So that's concerning. And then moving forward, inflation, you just brought up inflation. That's a big concern of mine. Inflation, for example, since 1990 to today's 2020, and the last 30 years, $1 in 1990 is worth 50 cents today.
Well,
50 cents of buying power. Or you gotta have $2.
My other soul,
Let's see.
is flapping.
Here we go.
Oh, I'm losing my souls over this.
Let's rip it off.
Because that's just
If
doing.
you want.
That's not doing
Not
that.
metaphorically, but hey, it's a shoe sole,
Yeah,
not your soul.
that's correct. But we're making fun of. Wow, this camera's fogging up. Fogging up in the direct sun. So here's Diamond Head. Put that in your backpack.
Good, that was good. Million land, million tenants.
So
who are.
right now can't evict. But when they can evict,
So let's get people up to speed what we're talking about. So now, part of that cause and effect is, the effect is in California, they have extended the evictions. So a lot of folks who have lost their jobs been living in their tenants' homes without paying rent for months. Some of them have been 6 months, 7 months. January 31st, 2021, as of right now, they may extend it, but say they don't extend it. What happens is the landlord can legally, after January 31st, 2021, they can legally evict their tenants who are staying, right?
January 21st.
31st, but
31st.
End of January, doesn't matter the date, end of January. Well, as in January, after that, they can legally, so February 1st, they can legally evict their tenants.
So what
the
happens
landlords.
then?
So here's the scenario. What happens? There is millions, over a million. There's 40 million people that live in California.
California, lots.
I know 30% of them lost their jobs, right? So a fraction of the 30% don't have the savings. They live paycheck to paycheck. So 30% of 40 million is
So if they expect them to pay rent, they're gonna go broke and homeless. Like
correct. So there's all can be over a million people who are gonna be getting evicted, or two. So what happens is courts. The system is designed this way. It says, okay, landlord, you can go take it to court. You can go take it to court.
Okay.
And now you can be put on the bucket list with all the other million something tenants who are getting evicted.
Millions and millions of court cases of eviction.
So the reality is you can be waiting a long time to evict the tenant. So that's how the system is designed. It could be a year, it could be 6 months. It depends. So you're guaranteed at least. There's a COVID mask.
Somebody lost their diaper.
As a landlord, your liabilities can be at least 3 months, 3 more months, to evict the tenant, and then you have to go and collect the money. So I don't know the process of that.
So the landlord's going to go broke.
Correct. So this is what the Federal Reserve steps in. They're going to say, well, yeah, okay, Mr. Landlord, I know you're in a tough situation. I must step up and give you a quick solution. I'm gonna buy your property. I know you, because they can be desperate, and they're kind of swoop in and buy the property at a discounted rate because they have the
federal
money.
Government.
So the Federal Reserve, it's called the mortgage-backed securities. They're swapping treasuries with the United States. And these treasuries, the debt, treasury debt, they're giving to the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve is giving cash. So the government policymakers can buy back these properties, whoever entity is. That's how that works. Wow.
They're kind of almost playing bankrupt broker or pawn shop. There is the word.
And by law, the Federal Reserve is not supposed to do that directly, do direct buyback. So that what they've done is go around the law. Is, like I said, there's many red lines they cross to buy back.
This is the new territory.
New territory is, that's what Jerome Powell's going to be pounding back.
We're breaking new territory by breaking all the laws.
So what they do is they create a company.
Regulations.
They create a company to do that for them. So they're still within the law, right?
But they can't get sued.
There's a party that Federal Reserve has to go through that they control to actually facilitate this purchase.
There's a word for that. Shell company.
As you can call it, yeah. But a legal shell company.
A legal Federal Reserve shell company.
Mm-hmm. But they're not hiding anything.
It's all open.
It's all open. It's all on the. It's all.
Or it just popped up. I think it just turned itself. I'm running out of battery too. So one of two things can happen.
Is we have to talk about it. That's the right to the situation. Because most folks are not aware of what's really happening in the bigger scale. Because I call that position, and if this is how some of the greatest, everyone has access to this information online, right? It's the matter of
where would they go?
What are you going to do with it?
Okay, this.
Are you going to go? Are you going to put in these bets when the housing market, when you kind of short the market, like the movie The Great Short, or are you?
Okay, there's only two parties, Democrats and Republicans. 12 years old, green. There's only two parties, go on.
So I noticed that there's only two parties, Democrats and Republicans, and nothing else. There's independent, liberal, Green Party, but they have never been elected for 150 years. So I noticed that I'm like, as a child, when you're a child, you think differently. You're not conditioned as an adult yet. You're not conditioned to say certain things. Your imagination is wild. So you think.
Yeah, but you're supposed to conform to what adults.
And at that time, I wasn't conformed. I'm still not conformed, mostly. But anyways, and I'm like, why are there two parties, Democrats and Republicans? Why isn't there people with these? Like the Green Party or Liberal Party, why isn't this party rises? They seem better candidate. Well, I learned that it's by design. It's by design.
And that's what you figure?
Yep, it's by design.
How designed? Like who designed it?
Well, it's extremely difficult to. It's like getting a promotion.
Yeah.
It's extremely difficult for the new party to gain ranks.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure. You know what? There are other parties, political parties.
I
And you know, that's nothing. That has nothing to do with the Constitution. It was never in the Constitution. President, the first one, George Washington, didn't even like the idea of political parties. But parties come, parties go. It used to be popularity. How many people?
That makes sense.
Now it's not. Because you got two parties. It's good. Oh my God. We're gonna go. Action packed.
That was our action pack crossing the road.
But there's two main parties. There's other parties, but they don't count. Why don't they count? Money. The money backing them. It's not like how much they got to spend on commercials. It's like unions, lobbyists, and they're going to be back behind one guy, and they wind up going to two parties. So you should have like a Green Party, a Liberal Party, or whatever, but it's never going to make any difference. Because it gets down, when it gets down to, don't get run over, when it gets down to, there's three parties. That's as far as it goes. When it gets down to three parties, you're going to have one lesser of two evils. And the third person, if you vote for the third party, it might take away votes. They call it splitting the ballot.
There you go.
So you wind up with two parties. So maybe they should get rid of the Electoral College and political parties. You know what? If they just gave the government, spend a little cash for the television, and go, you guys got the same amount of time, talk to the people. Have debate, have call-in answers, and so you'll just look at the person on their merits, or how they talk, or what they talk about. A little better, but it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen in 2021. That's like,
yeah, exactly. So back, the cause and effect is that as we head into this decade, is that people can get lazier. People can get lazier. They are gonna want AI is gonna run our life.
it worked now. Camera cooled off. Okay. Your reaction. Look over there in the yard.
It's a tortoise.
Yes.
The great tortoise. It's big.
It's
Yours is getting big like that too.
It's Tor's friend. Mine is about that size. I think that one's a little bigger.
Yeah, yours has gone big. I remember when yours was the size of the wrist.
The wrist?
The size of this fist.
No, it wasn't that small.
Okay, here's one.
It's about that big.
Okay. Let's play some. You can turn it off. Let's play some wrist. Got a package.
Yes.
Coming back to the house.
There's a giant tortoise.
Show where Mr. Tom Selleck used to live.
Tom Selleck. Dun 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 dun.
Magnum PI. Remember?
Oh my God, Magnum. Tom Selleck used to live here. And you see this mailbox? I used to park here. This mailbox is his mailbox. Not his now, so don't bother it. And he'd come out here and paint this mailbox every day. Paint that mailbox. He was up for the part of Indiana Jones. But he didn't get it because he was tied into the TV show. But he was waiting for the letter, painting the mailbox. Dun 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 dun. Anyways, there's a package. Come on, let's go. Let's go find the suspense. Who is it for? door. Suspense. Does suspense count as content? Probably not. But there's a box, a little white box. It's addressed to my mom. You know the little black mailbox in Area 51?
Yeah.
It's white.
Oh.
It's almost that size. It looks like that. It's a white mailbox. Anyways, sayonara. Hang loose. Oh, what you see out here? No big waves today. Was big waves. Wow, it is like a bright day. I don't know what that was. I thought it was flowers. It's like to see it. Videographer. Here. So I can bend this. I'm doing the video. I put the video up, right? Hey, thanks for listening. Hang loose. Political economy.
Loose.
Take it easy.